Hi, I'm Shannon from houseimprovements.com. I want to show you how to grout a tile backsplash. So we've got a small piece of backsplash right over here. This particular one has a few different products in it, everything from metal covered tiles to stone to glass. So it's got a little bit of everything in there. We're going to use a urethane based grout. So that's a grout that won't need to be sealed afterwards. It is going to be water and stain resistant, so that's the type of grout we're going to use. I try to use that type of grout all the time. First of all, there'll be some instructions on the product that you use to put these tiles on. In this case we used a mastic, and it'll let you know how many hours or days or whatever you've got to wait before you can grout it, so just pay attention to that. Your grout is going to have to sit so many hours before before it's exposed to any grease or anything like that too. So just read the manufacturer's instructions and see what they recommend. So our tiles, these ones have been sitting for a few days, so they're more than cured enough to do the grouting. You want to go between in all the grout joints, make sure there's none of the mortar or the mastic that you used squirting through there. Clean it right out so that you don't have any trouble with the grout going in there. You don't want the mortar or the mastic to be showing. So mask off your countertop, anything that you don't want to get a little bit of grout on or water or whatever, and then you're ready to go. So follow the instructions on your grout that you're using, the particular type that you're using. In this case, this one here, we just had to mix it up to get all the binders and glues and everything in it to be thoroughly mixed again. We're using a rubber float like this to apply the grout on there. So you're just going to simply scoop some on your, actually I'll start over at the far side. Scoop some onto your rubber float, and you're just going to want to push it and work it into the grout lines there. So as you go along, you're just working it along. You're going to have some that falls off down onto the bottom. That's why we've got the tape there. And you just work your way along, filling all those grout lines. Make sure you're working it in there. The grout lines are usually, at least a 1/4 inch deep, so you want to make sure you're getting it right fully back in there, not just superficially on the surface, because when it dries, it may just crack and fall out or not be filled at all. So just kind of take your time moving along there. Don't ever grout any more than what's going to set up and need to be wiped off. So, in this case, if I wasn't doing this filming, I'd probably grout this whole thing and then go back and start wiping it off. But because of all my talking and blabbering along, I'm just going to do maybe a 1/4 of it here and wipe it off. When you're doing the wiping, you're just using cool, clean water and a sponge, and you want to wring your sponge out as well as you can, so you're not using any more water than you really need to the more water you add to most of the grouts, it can weaken their ability to not crack and that sort of thing. So just wring it out as best you can so you're not using excessive water. Plus, the more water you got, it's running down the wall, you're just making a big mess. So, okay, so I'm just working my way along there, trying to get it worked into every little spot. Just get right down there so you can see what you got. I'm just going to go a little bit further. If you get too far ahead of yourself with the grout and not cleaning up the excess quick enough, like you can see this stuff on here, especially with the urethane, you start getting a lot of glue residue stuck to the tiles, little particles of the grout stuck to the tiles, to the face of them where you don't want them. So it's important to stay caught up with your cleaning. If you're doing a big area, you might want to have 2 people, so one person's applying it and one person's doing the cleanup as you go, sort of thing. It does need a bit of time to set up, but like this stuff here doesn't take very long. This is it's already starting to stick on the tiles a little bit. but not real bad. This will probably be the last little bit I'd apply, and I'll go back and clean it up. If you can, kind of work diagonally across the grout lines, and so that the trowel isn't falling into them and cleaning them right out. If you go diagonally, it kind of fills them right up flush to the top. Okay, so we've got that there. Get a couple of these bigger chunks off of that. I'm just going to get my sponge here. And I just wrang that out really well so it's not dripping, running all over the place. And it takes a little bit of work to get this clean. You want to make sure it wipes up well and you aren't leaving that residue, like I said, stuck on the walls or the counters or the surface of the tiles. So just kind of, I like to get the excess cleaned up first, because otherwise if you leave that on that tape, you end up dragging your sponge through it, and not knowingly you're putting it back on the wall once you get to actually cleaning the tiles. So okay, so then I'm just working away on the tile, on the edge of the molding there, on the face of the tile, just kind of scrubbing along. It's a little more difficult when you're working with such a small area and such a big sponge, so but you just want to work your way along. You can see some of the pieces went up on top of there, so I just want to knock that down. Trying not to rub on the painted wall too much if I can, because you usually when that dries it ends up leaving a bit of a streak there from the glues, from the grout. So it leaves a bit of a film, I guess would be a better word for it. Okay, so that's about what you'd want to do. Now once that dries a little bit again, you want to go over it with clean water and a clean sponge again. So you can kind of get to that point. I'll grout the rest of that wall and then clean it, and then I can go back and clean all of it again. So it takes a little bit of time, like I said, but it's definitely not something that most do-it-yourselfers can definitely handle this. It's more about, especially for your first couple times, not getting too much grout applied before you've done your cleanup, because that's where you're going to run into a problem, is if you've left your cleanup too long, left your grout, sorry, too long before cleaning it up, and then you're going to have to really scrub to get that stuff off the tiles or whatever it's on. Okay, so I'm just double checking those grout lines, make sure it's all full. It's a pretty busy pattern, so have a good look, make sure that you got it all. Dump out your water and get clean water as often as you figure you need it. If it starts getting really cloudy, you're better off to get some clean fresh water, because that cloudiness is the glue and the binder and that sort of thing in there, and it's just going to leave a film on your tile. So especially important once you get down to your last couple cleaning wipes. When you're doing this rough clean, it doesn't matter quite as much. It doesn't have to be quite as clean, because you know you're going over it right away again. I'm just kind of working the sponge in the water there to get the grout off that I just wiped off the wall. If you're doing a floor or something like that, a lot of the principles are the same. And it's a little quicker, but again, you just got to make sure you don't grout more than you can reach to get clean again, because you don't want to be walking on it if you're doing floor tile. You don't want to walk on it until it's been cured, if you can avoid it. Okay, so get your initial cleaning all done up. Like that. Just have another look, make sure you didn't wipe any joints right out or create any voids. Looks pretty good. I'm going to get a fresh bucket of water. That'll take me a couple minutes, and that'll let that sit a little longer too. And then I can give it a final cleaning, and we should be good. Okay, so this is sat here for maybe, I don't know, 4 or 5 minutes, something like that. It started to dry out a little bit. There's still a few little sand particles on the face of the tiles, but they're even just rolling off my finger. So this should be the last cleaning. I'm not sure if you can see a little bit of residue. It really shows up on these shiny metal tiles. You can see it there right now. If I take my finger and just shine it up a little bit, it goes away. I'm not sure if you can quite pick that up on there, but anyways. So I've got a new sponge, clean pail of water. I'm just wiping across to get that last little bit of glue off of there. Again, I'm not using much water at all on the sponge. I'm wringing it out, making sure it stays clean. And that's about it. Just get that little bit off there. Okay, so just play it with your own judgment, whether you're done cleaning or not. A little bit of sand particles or a little bit of particles from the grout itself, after you've cleaned it a couple times, usually aren't a big deal. It's hard to get rid of them all in the cleaning process. As long as they aren't sticking quite hard to the tile, excuse me, to the tile, you'll be able to go and just wipe them off with a dry cloth once this has had a chance to sit overnight. So, you know, you don't have to be too particular about that. It's the glue amounts, and actually I'm still getting a little bit here. I'm going to have to clean it once more. It's the glue residue that usually leaves the most staining. Now if you get it all clean, you think you're good, you come back the next day and there's some of that residue on there, you can use like a Scotch-Brite, kind of an SOS pad on there, a little bit damp, and just shine it up a little bit and it'll clean that off. Just be careful in case your tile is easily scratched or something, but generally most tile won't scratch by using an SOS, but this metal might, so you got to be a little bit careful if you're really scrubbing. So that's it. So then I would just peel off this tape and let that sit, like I said, for as long as the manufacturer says it needs to sit, depending on your conditions, and then you should be all right. So I think that's got it pretty much wrapped up. Like I said, I'm going to clean that once more, but you got the general idea. The important thing is just getting it worked into the grout lines well, and letting it sit long enough to completely cure before you know, like I said, are splashing it with grease or anything like that. So thanks a lot for watching. If you like this, please click the thumbs up icon on the screen there. And also, if you have any comments about this or anything else, just come to the forum on our website at house-improvements.com, and please direct all your responses there. It's just easier for me to respond back to you, and it helps other people too. If you post up a question, they might have a similar question as well. Okay, so thanks a lot for watching.